The series showcases Cadmus' pride welcoming Eva to the aircraft which will be taking her to her new home, but she is disappointed on realizing that Cadmus was just a hologram. Nevertheless, one of the pilots came out to greet her, and she was delighted on realizing that he was a real human as she hugged him. The pilot was a bit nervous because of the aliens behind her, but she introduced them as her friends, and the pilot introduced himself as Haley Van Turner. Vampa, the second pilot, came out as Eva hugged him as he was the second human she had ever met. Eva invited her friends Rovi and Otto to tag along as they began making their way to New Attica, their new home. On the way, Eva was so excited as she asked the pilot a lot of questions, too much that he could keep up with, so he answered the one he could and lost track of the rest. They were about to arrive as Eva and her friends were scared because they thought he was going to crash into a mountain, but it was just an illusion as they landed at the city. The pilots left, and as Eva was about going further into the city, she noticed that Rovi and Otto were reluctant to follow, and as she went to find out what was wrong, they informed her that this was where they say goodbye. Eva was emotional as she said her goodbyes to them and left. On the way, she met Migo, her old sanctuary buddy, who explained to her that New Attica was the sanctuary of Cadmus' pride and has since been expanded to house 2.2 million people. Looking around, she spotted an extinct bird that was brought back to life by humans. Still looking, she spotted Cadmus, still thinking he was a hologram. She punched him and was delighted to realize he is real. She hugged him and also had a lot of questions for him, but he sums it all up and informed her that he failed humanity. That's why he spent his lifetime creating this city. He introduced her to his children, Jen and Nova, as they were delighted to see someone from a sanctuary, and they all went on tour. They changed her attire, and they went to have a meal together. While eating, the children were surprised to see someone from a sanctuary and clustered around her. Feeling uncomfortable, Jen and Nova took her out. Eva wanted to be outside. That's when Jen and Nova took her to extraterrestrial. It was a simulation of an outside world, and they have to kill aliens to gain points. Eva wasn't comfortable doing it, but she joined anyway. As they progressed further, they defeated a fire beast, and the game was over. They celebrated with Eva, who wasn't really excited but pretended that everything was fine as she thanked them and left. She met with Cadmus' hologram, who invited her to her room. Getting there, she spots her robot mom and hugs her, but soon realizes that it was just another robot. All Eva ever wanted was to meet humans, but she didn't understand why she wasn't feeling happy. She dims the light and spotted someone who looked exactly like her. And as she opened the window, the person ran off. Episode 2 begins at daybreak with Eva asking her Omni details about the place when she got interrupted by Cadmus. Cadmus informed her that his scientist has some questions for her, as they would like to know how she survived in the surface. The robot was leading her to the scientist location when she spotted the person from yesterday, wearing a sanctuary jacket. Intrigued, she chased after her, but catching up to her was extremely difficult as she had to do a lot of jumping, climbing just to catch a glimpse of her. The lady made her way to a gondola and rode off. Eva also got into one, but as she realized that it was taking her to the scientist and not following the lady, she jumped out and made her way into another. The boy in it was able to follow the lady she was chasing, and as they got into a large body of water, the lady jumped. Eva, determined to find out who she was, also jumped, and as she swam up to the surface, she was surprised as the place looks exactly like her sanctuary. She made her way in and spotted some people chatting. That's when one of them spotted her, and while trying to interrogate her to find out who she was, the lady appeared and led Eva away. It turns out the lady is also Eva, as they were both identical. She told Eva of her own experience with her team at the sanctuary, how they got to the surface only to realize that it wasn't as they imagined. She explains to Eva how she lost her sanctlings as the surface was a dangerous place, so she decided to return to her sanctuary, but the sanctuary was closed to Eva 8 because it started preparing a new generation, Eva 9. Eva 8 heard the cry of a baby, which was Eva 9, and this motivated her to survive. Eva 8 and Eva 9 saw themselves as sisters, and they had a meal with others. They were one big family as they were all from a sanctuary and survived the harshness of the surface. They were about discussing the truth Cadmus was hiding. That's when Eva 9 robot bashed in. Although they destroyed Eva 9 tracking device, the robot was still able to locate her and informed her that she was late to her meeting with the scientists. Eva 8 decides to accompany her, and on meeting Cadmus, he appears delighted to meet them and leads them outside. There, Eva 8 spotted the extinct birds, and this activated past traumas as she lay on the ground. Eva 9 was able to get her and the birds to be calm. That's when Eva 9 heard a voice from Otto. Otto informs her that Cadmus wasn't nice as he had him and Rovi captured, and just at that moment, she spotted Cadmus. Episode 3 begins with Otto informing Eva 9 of how they were trapped in a dark place, and also how Rovi was hurt. Eva was shocked to hear this. Cadmus arrived just at that moment and apologized for scaring Eva 8 with the birds and opted for his physician to attend to her while she stayed with him, but Eva 9 objected and decided to accompany her sis. Eva 9 informed her sis that Cadmus had her friends trapped and she could speak to him telepathically. So they both decided to rescue her friends, but first of all they had to meet the others at Resendus Point. It turns out Cadmus had his robots watching them as they walked across, so they hatched out a plan and were able to escape from the robot sites. But it was not all over as the Migos were also watching them, so they both had a crowd change to their attire, and they were able to bypass the Migos and entered a pit. There, they met with the others who informed her that Cadmus had their sanctuary hideout shut down, so they packed all they could. They all left, as Eva 8 stayed back to help her sis rescue her friends, so she tears up a Migo, which revealed a map, and they began navigating their way through the tunnel in search of Otto and Rovi. They arrived at a location where all new Attica crops are farmed and also spotted a hole that leads deep into the Earth's core, where enough energy is gotten to power new Attica. Still searching, Eva 9 heard Otto's voice and followed it to a place which was highly secured. They hid as they spotted dangerous robots scanning the area. Eva 9 finally got into the place where they were kept, and her sis followed. Eva 8 spotted the aliens and tried leading her sis out when Eva 9 informed her that the aliens were friends. She was shocked as the door shut, separating them. Eva 9 saw Otto trapped as he informed her of how they hurt both him and Rovi and wondered why they would do something like that. The door opens as Eva 9 hid behind Otto as the prisoners were transported out of the facility. They were transported to a place where Cadmus was having a meeting with a group of holographic board members. Eva 9 records the discussion and sends it to Violet. Cadmus informed the board members of how they were running out of energy due to a strange phenomenon, and once they are out of energy, they will be out of food, which would mean the end of New Attica. So he provided a solution, which is the specimen he acquired as he believed they hold the key to energy that could last New Attica forever. He needed more specimens and believes Eva 9 would be her map, since she has the ability to communicate with them telepathically. He brought her out, but she was disgusted as she kicked Cadmus into a strange plant and made her way out with her friends. She links up with Violet, who tried leading them to an escape route when they got ambushed by the Megabots, but Eva 8 arrived just in time and they escaped with her craft. Violet left them to meet the others while the rest were chased by the Megabots when they arrived at the escape point. There, they met with Haley and Vampa, the pilots from earlier, and they all got into the craft. Unfortunately, the vault was closed, so they couldn't escape, but Vampa made his way out to open it manually, but got captured. Refusing to give up, he threw his prosthetic leg and was able to open the vault, and they all made their way out and began heading to Alien Forest. Cadmus wasn't ready to let them go, so she sent his more sophisticated bots after them. Stay tuned for more episodes of Oneless Season 2 on its Mythical, and subscribe to this YouTube channel for more mind-blowing recaps like this. Thanks for watching.